You hear the word leasing thrown around all the time, right? With cars, with phones, with all sorts of things. It's a huge financial tool, but honestly, a lot of us don't really know how it works. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on it. We're going to break down what it is, how it works, and help you figure out if it's the right move for you. Let's jump in.
I mean, come on, who hasn't? You see that shiny new car or that super fast new laptop or maybe a piece of equipment that could totally change your business, but then you see the price tag and wow, that upfront cost can be a huge barrier. Well, that is the exact problem that leasing is designed to solve.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a super simple definition of what leasing even is. Then we'll look at the good stuff, the upside, and of course, the not so good stuff, the downside. After that, we'll cover what happens when the lease is over, and we'll wrap it all up with the big final trade-off you need to think about.
All right, first things first. Let's just cut through all the financial jargon and get right to the heart of what leasing actually means.
Okay, so you see this definition, but the part you really need to focus on is right there at the end, without taking ownership. That's the whole game. You are paying for the privilege of using something, a car, a computer, whatever, not to own the thing itself. It's a completely different way of thinking compared to buying.
And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. It makes it all click. When you rent an apartment, you pay every month and you get an awesome place to live. But you're not building any equity, right? You don't own the property. Leasing is the exact same idea. It's all about access over ownership.
And once you get that idea, you start seeing it everywhere, especially with things that are really expensive or, and this is a big one, things that get outdated super fast. Cars are the classic example, of course, but think about business tech or heavy machinery that cost an absolute fortune to buy outright.
Okay, so we know what leasing is. Now, for the million-dollar question, is it actually a good idea? Well, like pretty much any financial choice, you can think of it as a coin with two sides. So first, let's look at the head side, the upside.
And of course, for every heads, there's a tails. To make a smart decision, you have to look at both sides of that coin at the same time.
And this right here is the fundamental trade-off. Let's really dig into this. On the left side, the advantages. The biggest win is that you preserve your cash. The upfront payment is way lower, and your monthly payments are often smaller than if you were buying. That means you can often get a nicer car or newer tech than you could afford to buy. And a huge plus, maintenance is frequently just rolled right into the deal. Okay, now let's flip over to the right side, the drawbacks. The biggest one, you never build any ownership, zero equity. After years of payments, you walk away with nothing. You're also usually stuck with restrictions, like mileage limits on a car, and you can't just modify it however you want. And here's the real kicker, over the long haul, you might actually end up paying more in total than if you just bought it in the first place. You're trading long-term value for short-term flexibility.
So, you've made it to the end of the contract. The lease is up, now what? You might think this part is complicated, but your options are actually pretty straightforward.
You basically have three main paths you can take. Number one, the simplest, just return it. Hand over the keys, walk away, and you're done. You don't have to worry about selling it or anything. Number two, if you still really like it, you can often just renew the lease and start a new agreement. Or number three, if you've fallen in love with it and just can't part with it, a lot of leases give you the option to buy it for a price that was actually set way back when you first signed the papers. The choice is all yours.
Okay, so we've defined leasing, we've weighed the pros and cons, and we know our options when it's all over. Let's bring it all home and figure out what the final takeaway really is.
You know, this quote from our source material just nails it. It says it all perfectly. Leasing isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool. It's a tool that's fantastic for flexibility and keeping cash in your pocket right now, but the price you pay for that is giving up ownership and possibly spending more money over time.
And that brings us right to the final and maybe the most important question you have to ask yourself. And there's no right or wrong answer here. For a business that needs the absolute latest technology every couple of years, that flexibility might be priceless. But for someone who wants to own a car for the next 10 years, well, ownership is probably the goal. The right choice really depends on what you value more.